Welcome back everybody, I'm Joni Young and today I'm showing you step by step how to paint Cabin in the Country, working on 11 by 14 canvas paper using black and white acrylic paint only and a filbert brush or two. This one is a number 16 and I'm going to take water with a little bit of white and black and I'm going to start pulling back and forth almost all the way down, picking up more white and water right away. I'm going to start blending that in. And now because I'm working on acrylic paper, it soaks up the paint quite quickly, so I'm working a little extra fast today. And remember, you can stop and pause the video and go back at any time if you need to. Now making more of that gray color, I'm just going to line my brush up right here and begin little dabs and pulls very carefully, pulling and flicking lightly for some trees and an instant forest back there, and then adding some foliage down below with that gray color. Now I'll do this again. And we'll add some on the other side as well. This is a really fun and easy technique for creating trees in an instant forest. If the paint isn't flowing easily, then it means you need a little bit more water in your brush. Now if you have a lot of drips, that means you have too much water. I'm just going to add some shadows down here. So pulling that gray back and forth, picking up a little bit of water when I need to help that paint flow out of my brush. Let's mix up a little bit more and start tapping in some ground and foliage here. Now I'm going to tap in some white on the end of my brush and add that for a little highlight and to soften all this grass up a little bit. Pulling and sweeping with some more black. Now for a more dramatic effect, you can use more black than I've used. I like to have a lot of midtones when I'm working with a limited palette, especially with black and white. I like to have a lot of shades of gray in there because it's really nice. It brings everything all together and it softens it. Now I just decided I wanted to add a big weeping willow tree right here, so I'm pulling in straight black for this, curving up, having those tree roots kind of spread around down at the base, and then pulling lightly, barely touching that paper, and dragging to create little crooked type of branches. Then I'll tap wherever I want to have some of those foliage and leaves on the tree. Okay, let's just tidy this up a little bit. Wiggle and tap. Have some big old tree roots down at the base there. Maybe there's some moss growing on them. We want to make it look like this tree has been here for a long time and it's not just floating there. And here I'm turning my brush sideways, pulling longer lines in the foreground and lots of shorter ones that are close together as they get further away, creating that perspective. Then I'm going to give a soft white highlight after, make a few of these in the foreground a little thicker, and then I'm going to flick off the bottom of each one that's closest to us for a shadow on an angle. And then you're just going to pull, try to do one stroke, a line that pulls and curves right in the middle of all of them, bringing that fence, all those fence posts together. And maybe we'll put just another one right here. Now, if you're doing this tutorial along with me, I would highly recommend doing it on canvas. The canvas paper is a lot more challenging and it's not beginner friendly. Let's pull, turning our brush sideways, still using our number 16 filbert brush, using dark gray and then lighter gray, or any gray that you want, or straight black if you want, but just keep in mind when things are further away, they're going to be lighter in color. So that's why I'm making them really light back here. And then tapping a bit of white just to make that pop out a little bit. I decided right here to add a little mountain. So that gray, pulling diagonally on the right side, and then on the left side, the same thing, it's going the other way. So we've got one side in shadow and one side with the highlights on it. We'll add another tree down here. Big scoop of white on the tip of my brush, barely touching the canvas. I'm going to just drag very lightly to have lots of snowy peaks on this mountain. And then maybe there's just a whole range of mountains there and they get further and further away, so it gets smaller as it goes towards the center of the canvas or paper. Let's make some shadow and clouds up at the top using gray and then a little bit of white, a little bit of ground cover here and grass and some shadows. A little bit more black. Let's define these a little bit more. Now I have a lot of tutorials on how to paint trees and skies. So if you guys want to check out, I'll add some links to this video. And this is a quick one I'm doing today, so I'm not going into a whole lot of detail, but it's still fun to watch and there's a lot for you guys to learn. And I'm taking white on the tip of my brush and I'm going to apply a highlight on the inside of each one of these fence posts. Try to do this very carefully as they get farther away. They're just little taps and dabs. And then don't be afraid to go right through here on that board that holds them all together. Let's get a little bit more white and add some more highlights and little bushes right here. Maybe we'll just have, well, that's pretty, make it look like the tree trunk is got a twisted look to it. And let's start this willow tree. Lots of taps. Then they get smaller and smaller as they go down. We want to make it look like they're hanging. So we'll tap and then pull. Let's load the brush up again with some more light gray. Mostly white, but there's a little hint of black in there. And we'll just do a few little light lines back here to make that look softer because it's so far away. And we're not going to see a lot of shadow back there. Okay, I'm going to continue to work on this weeping willow tree. Again, just doing those little taps and pulls and flicks. I'm not going to worry too much about a lot of detail. I'm going to pull some that come right down to the ground and then a few little lines in the water. So we've got on the very far left side is where our little path or little country lane is, and then in the middle is the water. It's a little river. Now I'm adding highlights on that tree with white, and then I go over and pick up a little bit of black, and I'm just going to line it up right there, right behind where it's the brightest. We have those snow peaks. A little push and flick. And now our mountains have a lot of depth. That really just made them go from flat to 2D or even 3D. Taking some more black, I'm going to add more shadow and contrast under these trees. And down at the base of this one. I'm picking up black now, and I'm going to start my little cabin. So I pull across and then down, creating little lines in here and a peak for the roof. So the roof is going to be lighter, and then we're going to have just a little tiny stick for a chimney. And I'll even try to add some little windows, so it's so far away that you're not going to be able to see all the details, so don't worry about that, guys. We just need a suggestion that there's a cozy little cabin there. Maybe there's a little fire going inside, and so we can see some smoke coming out of the top of the chimney. To make it look like it's nestled in there and it's been there for a while, we have to add some little bushes around that little cabin. We'll do just that little line for a bit of a shadow. Tap lightly. Few little lines. Just try to even out this roof line a little bit. And by all means, you guys can use any brush that you feel comfortable with. Adding white to the roof. And for some highlights on these bushes, now we'll add another little shadow for our chimney and under our roof line. Now if you pull lots of little lines across, you can make it look like a log cabin. But again, it's so far away that you don't even have to worry about all of that. Okay, let's get a little bit more gray, a very light gray color, and just a little wiggle and pull. Let's go ahead and wash out our brush. Get all that black base out of there. I'll add a little bit of white just to soften that up. And then I'm just gonna polish up this fence a little bit. More black and more black over here as well. Make that stand out a little bit more. Add some more shadow on the very top. Now as I finish up the final details of this painting, I want to thank you guys again for joining me today. I know this is a short little video today, but hope you found it inspiring and picked up a few new tips and tricks that'll help you along the way of learning to paint. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more free art inspiration weekly. And if you'd like early access and upcoming videos, you can head over to my Patreon page, Joni Young Art. There'll be a link below in the description. Happy painting, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye!